Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to MEC-TEC. We're back in the garage and we are on the home straight on the old Eddie Stobart van, Miriam. So we're going to crack on, get through these last few jobs. I don't know whether we're going to get it finished in this episode, but we're going to get really close with any luck. So it may be finished in this episode, or it may be one more episode after this, but it is virtually done. So without further ado, let's crack on, get some work done. Right, this is going to be the next job on the Stobart van. As you can see, the passenger seat membrane, or diaphragm, whatever you want to call it, is starting to fail. You can see that one's gone, this one's cracking, and it's gone down this side and at the bottom there, so it is on the verge of needing a new one really. But just to obviously save it for now, so that it's in one piece for a bit longer, I'm going to use the old cable tie method on it, just to sort of keep it in one piece for when Mike gets the car back, or van back I should say. And obviously you can sort that out in due course, but the old cable tie should do the trick for a good while, I would have thought, because it will obviously support that right the way across through the holes and whatever else. So I'm going to get that done the same as I did on the new one on the driver's seat, and hopefully that will make it last a bit longer. Right, slight change of plan. I've just spoken to the owner Mike, and he said he would like a new one fitted really if possible, which I can definitely understand, because this one is definitely past it. As you can see there, hopefully it's cracking across here, it's cracking across this one as well. So I think if anyone's sat on that for any period of time, even with the cable ties, I'm not sure it's going to hold very well, and I didn't want to do it and then someone sit on it and he says to me, why don't you put a new one on it? So I just thought I'd just message him and make sure, and he said yeah, put a new one on. So I'm going to get one of those ordered up, and I'll do the same job on this seat as we did on the driver's one. At least then hopefully it will last for a good while with the cable ties on there as well, and you can sit on the seats without ending up on the floor which is always a good bonus. So I think I'm going to have a look at my list and see what other jobs we've got left on the van, and obviously go from there, and I'll come back to you when I've decided which one I'm going to do. Let's crack on. Right, next job I'm going to do is go along all these connections on this fuse box and make sure they're all clean. I'm going to put a little bit of dielectric grease on them as well to stop them corroding in the future. This is just to obviously make sure that everything works, and also I still need to get the wipers working. I don't know why they're not working at the moment, so I'm hoping it might be a dodgy connection inside that. If not, then obviously I'll have to keep investigating from there, but for the minute I'm going to give these a good old clean up. I won't bother filming me doing it, because obviously it's going to be pretty boring, me sandpapering connections, and I can't really get a camera in there with me in there as well. So once I've done it, I'll come back to you and I'll show you exactly what we've done. Right, as you can see there, the connections are looking a lot better now. I haven't done all of them because there are some actually underneath these ones which I can't get to, unfortunately, but I have gone along them all with a test light, and there is power on both sides of the fuses and both sides of the wiring, so I'm confident that that is all right now. Now the next issue I've had is the indicators have stopped working. Do you remember in the very first video I said that there was a funny noise coming from inside the van? Well, it turns out it was this, which is the flasher relay that's been added. It's an electric one, because of having the trailer on the back. I spoke to my mate Dan, good old Dan, thanks Dan for your help today, and he said yeah, it needs an electric one to make the trailer lights work. Well, this is packed up. So I've ordered a new one of those. If I link out these two wires, that one there and that one there, the indicators do light up. Obviously they don't flash, but they light up. So I know the wiring's okay for that. I've also used one of these newfangled heat up solder joints on there. It's not focusing very well. So that's all soldered now, because that was actually just twisted together before, so that wasn't a very good connection either. So I've got a new flasher relay coming for this. That obviously is on the way from Amazon, good old Amazon, and it's got an adjustable speed on it as well, so it means you can adjust the flash rate, which is good. So the next thing I've done, or I've been on the phone to Dan for quite a while trying to work out wiring. Now it turns out that the dashboard switch in here, which is a little bit dark, I know, hang on a second, let me open the door. The dashboard switch here, this one that's down, was up the wrong way, so I have changed that so that the wiring is around the other way now, so the switches are around the right way. The motor still wouldn't work, so I had a spare motor, which again good old Dan gave me. There we go, and that one works. I've since reconnected the original motor, and I did a few adjustments with a hammer, shall we say, with this on the side of the motor, and it did start working, but it is horrendously slow. And also, whoever has put these wiper arms on, they're not in the right place, because they are actually going down into the bonnet, which is why I've got them up in the air at the moment. So I've got to take those off and put them in the correct position. And then obviously we're going to have to take the motor out, I think, and give it a good old clean up inside. Dan did say on his van that he had a lot of issues with the inside of the motor, inside that housing there where the worm gear goes in, all getting gunked up. Now this one I also had to put some grease in this end in the bearing, because the bearing on the armature had seized, not seized, but it was squeaking. So that's, I've sorted that one out, so I've got a spare if I need it. So yeah, the next job now is going to be to take this wiper motor out, see what we're working with inside. I zoomed right in. You can also see there I've put a new bulb in. I've got to put that cover back on. That now works as well. So that is that indicator bulb fixed. That chrome surround just pushes into this rubber. So that is an easy thing to just pop that back on there. So once we get the flasher relay, the indicators will be sorted. So anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get this wiper motor off and I'll show you what I find inside it. Right, I've took the wiper arms off. As you can see, the spindles are actually moving, and they're getting quicker as it's going along. So what I'm going to try and do is spray a bit of WD on these, see if there's a little bit of lubrication there. I can also spray some WD-40 under here inside the worm gear, and then we'll see whether that frees them up a bit better, because they have been getting a bit quicker as it's been running, only for a couple of seconds, but we'll see what that's like. And I'll put the wiper arms back on in the correct position, and then we'll see what they're like with a bit of drag on them. Right, there we go. I've reset the arms into the correct position. As you can see, they're quite slow, but that is without any water. So I'm hoping that once I get a bit of water on them, they're obviously going to be a lot better. I think that is going to be fine. I don't think they're that fast anyway, to be honest with you. And these are bigger wiper arms on this compared to the normal original ones. So I'm going to get some new wiper blades fitted, and I'm going to get a little bit of water on the screen and see how they do. There we go. Just thought I'd show you these with a bit of water on them. I think that's more than good enough. Obviously bear in mind as well, the engine's not even running, so they will go slightly faster when they get a bit more power. I think that's more than acceptable for an old van. I don't think they ever went any faster than that to start with, to be honest with you. So I think we are top banana on the wipers. Woo! There we go, as you would have seen that bit of time lapse there, that is the two front grills re-riveted back in nicely. It's another little job ticked off the list. I've also put this indicator lens back on in the rubber as well, so that is done. Obviously we've got the wipers working now. I've done those with water, as you've seen. They are working absolutely fine now, so that is absolutely superb. Could do with a pair of new wiper blades. I may have a pair of those somewhere. I thought I had some. I was looking for them earlier, but I can't find them at the moment, so may have to either get some or whatever. So yeah, we are down to waiting for that flasher relay to turn up. We've got a repaired passenger seat, which I said to you about earlier in the video. Spoken to the owner Mike, and he said get a new diaphragm for it, so we've got that coming. The only other thing I've got to sort out that I'd like to do is getting these fog lights working again, because I think that would look really cool. So I want to look at those, and also the bottom half of this bumper has become unattached under here. It's got these little brackets, you can see it there, and they've just got a self-tapping screw which has come out. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of rib nuts in underneath there, and rebolt those back up so that is nice and secure again, and it don't wobble about. That is the plan. Right, there we go. That is the new solenoid. You can hear clicking on and off there. I've got the speed dialed up to max on it because that seemed to be the best setting. I've only got it rigged up at the moment with a little short wire for the earth. As you can see, if I go around the front here, we've got a nice flashing indicator there, and it should hopefully show on the back as well. And the light lighting up with any luck, if it is flashing, that is. The back one doesn't appear to be flashing, so I need to look at that. Obviously there's maybe a bulb or something gone there. But if I flick the other side, we've got a flashing lamp on that side, and we've got a flashing lamp on the front there. So the indicators are now working as they should be as far as the relay. It's just that back bulb I need to sort out, so that's not too much of an issue. I can sort that out pretty easily. So that what I'm gonna do under there, I'm gonna obviously make a longer earth wire for that, and I'm gonna probably cable tie this to the top of the steering column so it's nice and secure. It means you can get to the dial on the top of it as well to make it faster or slower as you wish. I think that's probably about the right speed that it's on now, to be honest with you. It's pretty good. So that is another job ticked off the list. Woo! Right, there we go. As you can see there now, I've got the new relay cable tied to the top of the steering column. I've also obviously got it plugged in, and I've run a new earth lead, which is that black one there with the red end on it, going down the column, and it actually ties into one of the original earths that's already on the van. So that is nice and neat, and it all works, which is always a good sign. So next thing I think I'm going to do is relocate this washer pump so it's out of the way of the electrics a little bit, at least so it's not right above them. And then, as I said earlier in the video, the final job is going to be those front fog lights. So I think, yeah, that's going to be the next job, the washer pump. I'm going to work out where I'm going to put that. Let's crack on. Right, I'll just show you what I've been doing here. I've got the old cover off. As you can see, it's got 2 holes in the side of it, so I'm going to have to try and seal that in some way so that the moisture can't get to the electrics in there. But I have relocated the pump. As you can see, it's now mounted on the side of the footwell. I've actually gone through from the inside. I'll just show you, and I've put in 2 dome-headed hex head bolts that hold that in. Obviously you can get to both sides quite easily because you've got the hatch there to do them up, and I've used some nylock nuts on there so they shouldn't come undone. So now what I've got to do is put the pipes back on. I may have to lengthen them slightly, and I've got to lengthen these 2 wires down here, which is where it was plugged into originally, over to there, and that should be another job ticked off the list. In the meantime, the old seat diaphragm for the passenger side seat has turned up, so I'll get that fitted as well, and that'll be another job off the list. Top banana. Right, there we go. As you can see, I've got the wires now running over to the pump. The red one is a completely new wire. The black one I've joined onto the original loom. There is actually a plug which was underneath this tape, so I've plugged the new wire into where it was plugged in, and obviously just had one wire that was a bit longer. So I'm going to tape that up now so it all looks nice and neat. I've also done, where is it, this cover, put some masking tape on the outside of it, put a little bit of silicone inside. You can see that in there. There's 2 little dobs of silicone in there, which are obviously going to seal those holes up. So that's that bit done. So yeah, just got to tidy that up under there with the wiring, and then get the bottle back in there with the pipes, and it should be good to go. It all works. I've run the pump, and obviously that works. I just got to hook the actual water supply back up now, and then that'll be good to go. Lovely jubbly. Right, there we go. As you can see there, I've got all the wires taped up, got the bottle back in with the hoses connected, and it all works. As you can see, the windscreen's wet, so that proves it works. I did actually swap these 2 terminals round on the motor to make it go the other way, because the hoses were originally in the other sides of the motor, if that makes sense. So it was obviously pushing it out of this side and pulling it through this side. Because I've changed obviously the orientation, I swapped the 2 terminals around to make the motor go the other way, and that works absolutely fine. I've used all the original pipes that were there. All I've done is new wiring. That's this taped up bit here. You can see it almost blends in now, so that's good. I've got it all taped up in there, and it's all nice and watertight as well. You can see the 2 little where the holes used to be on the side of that cover there, which I've obviously put some silicone on the inside of. Just keep that sealed up, and obviously not let any moisture get in there, so that is absolutely superb. I'm really pleased with how that's come out. It all works as I say, so that is that job done. I'm going to move on to the seat now. Right, there we go. That is the passenger side seat diaphragm replaced, and I've done the old cable tie trick on that one as well. I didn't film this one because obviously you saw me do the last one, and as you can see I did this one actually in the van, which was a little bit tight to say the least. So that is that job ticked off the list. I think finally we're now on to those front fog lights, which is hopefully going to be the last job on this little van. Lovely jubbly. Right, I'm just looking into why this rear indicator isn't working. One thing that I forgot I had to sort out. I've wiggled the bulb around and it's not doing anything at all. So I've got obviously the holder out, as you can see there, and one of the connections under here, if you can see up there, is not very good at all. All the wires all frayed and everything else. So what I'm going to do is cut those crimps off, re-crimp it, and hopefully that might sort out our problem. Any luck. If it doesn't, then I'll still have to keep investigating from there. But I'm going to replace those crimps. I can't film it because it is right up underneath the back of the van in there. So I'll come back to you if in a minute and let you know if it works or not. Right, let me get you caught up with the last 2 days of my life. In the last clip you would have heard me say, I'm going to get on those front fog lights now, that's going to be the last job. Well, in the meantime I thought to myself, I'll just change the bulb on that rear light that wasn't working on the indicator. Well, as you can see by the presence of that multimeter on the floor down there, that turned into a 2-day marathon of electronics fault finding. As you can see, I've got wiring on the floor all down here, which is what I was using to test bits and bobs with. Now, I had 12 volts at that light, I had an earth at that light, but it would not light up for love nor money. So I ended up tracing the loom from the back all the way to the front of the van, taking off little bits of tape along the way and probing it with a meter to make sure I had continuity and there wasn't a break in the wire anywhere. Now we get to the front here and there wasn't any breaks in the wire. It goes to these blue connectors in here. Now if you look very closely just there, you'll see another block of connectors which were all wedged underneath the steering column and were invisible to find until I started obviously pulling my hair out, what's left of it. And I had good old Dan on the phone helping me out. Thanks Dan for your help on this. He said to me, there's got to be a connector somewhere. So I had another look round, and sure enough, put my hand underneath that steering column and I felt something, and it was this group of connectors here. Now you can see one of them's unplugged at the moment. That wasn't the issue. They were all plugged in, but as you can see by that connector, hopefully you'll be able to see it, they're very, very corroded and dirty. So although it was plugged in, it wasn't plugged in all the way, and it wasn't making a good connection because of all that corrosion on it. So as soon as I found those plugs, took them in and out, obviously then it started working. So after all that testing, thinking I was going to have to put a new wire in the van to run it to the back and everything else, it turns out it was a connection in the engine bay which was hidden from view. So what I'm going to do now is clean all those connections up, so hopefully they won't have an issue in the future. Get it all put back together again. I've got to retape the bits of loom that I took off underneath to make sure that they're all watertight and sealed, and then we should have a working rear indicator with any luck. So I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm going to get all this done. I can't really film in there at the same time because it is so small. I'm going to get all this cleaned up, and hopefully the next clip will be me showing you a nice flashing indicator at the back working, no problem at all. Let's crack on. Right, after a little bit of jiggery pokery at the front with the wiring, I've got that sorted out, and I've now got a working indicator. I've also wired in this new earth, as you can see there. It goes into the original earth on the loom. For whatever reason, this had a connection on it there, but it was housing to the earth into the housing rather than earth into this holder. So it meant that the bulbs were all flashing in weird ways. So now that's obviously got that earth directly onto the holder. That works absolutely perfect now. So that is that bit sorted out. I put a bit of tape around the wiring just to tidy it up a little bit there. That holds it all together. I made sure that the earth wire that I put in was pretty much the same length as the original wires that are there, so that all the connectors are in one place. So that should hopefully be good to go for a good long while. So I'm going to get this bulb holder screwed back in the back of the van. Then I can get the bits of tape underneath the van re-taped back up where I've obviously took bits off to check the wiring, and then we can hopefully maybe try and tidy up the front end a little bit as far as the wiring's concerned, and then go on to the next job. I'm not going to say front fog lights because knowing me, I'll probably find something else. So there we go, let's crack on. Right, there we go. As you can see, I've got the side lights on and I've got the left indicator working. It's all flashing as it should be. There's nothing flashing wrongly as such as far as the side lights go. That is that side sorted out. Let's just check the other side, make sure that's working all right as well. It was before, so let's hope it's doing it again. Yep, absolutely no problem at all. Wiring solved. Thank God for that. Right then, as you would have seen, I did get set back a fair way with that wiring issue, which has obviously slowed me down on the progress a little bit, which is why this video is a little bit short this week, because I have run out of time. There will be one final video on this van. We are going to sort those front fog lights out. I'm determined to that. I've also found that the dip beam on this side has stopped working. I assume the element's burnt out, so I've got a new steel beam unit to go in there. We've got some new wiper blades to go on. I've also got to replace the flasher switch on the dash, because when I tried it the other day it came off in my hand. So I've got a new switch coming, or I've got a new switch for that already, which we need to fit. What else? Oh, a test drive, of course. We've got to do a drive on it. So yeah, we'll obviously hopefully get everything sorted out, and we will be driving it in the next video, and fingers crossed everything stays as it should be. So that is going to be it for this episode. It is a little bit of a shorter video today, but as I say, because of the issues I had with wiring and whatever else, I did run out of time. I was just flat out all week, and that was all I could get done. So there we go, it's one of those things. Please, if you do like this sort of thing, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the thumbs up as well. Make sure you hit the little notification bell too. I'll tell you every time I upload a video. If you want to look me up on Instagram, I have got MEC_TEC1985, and I have got Facebook as well, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all there's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching, and if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.